Startup. It's a fun game. Lots happening. Many of us hate our jobs, and hence we are starting up. Or many of us want a quicker way to success. Probably startup is happening. I can probably tell a little bit of what's happening in the Valley and in the Boston region where I lived for a long time. So there, right now, the focus is more towards deep technologies, in the sense AI, ML, maybe VR. Now, it's getting more towards, nanotechnology and so on, as compared to what is happening here, because we have way too many problems to solve in India, because in terms of basic survival itself, we have been a little behind the race, lot of problems to solve. So I'm part of this another initiative called Synergies to Impact Billion Lives. So just in case, just so that you are aware of it, let's talk top 10 Indian startups, be it Flipkart, Paytm, maybe Oyo, Ola. They're all trying to solve the problems of the 200 million people which are city-based. Nobody is solving problems of the remaining 1 billion people who live in tier 3 cities and the villages, which makes 1 billion people. So what we are trying to see is how to address problems of the remaining 1 billion unaddressed community. That's number one. In terms of technology, we are still, yes, lagging behind when it comes to what problems we are solving in, say, the West Coast, preferably US, versus what's happening here. Second one, in terms of our maturity, we are not there yet. Let's face it. In India, Bangalore has 50% of startups, and rest of India put together has the remaining 50% startups. Can I suggest you to read one report about this curiosity? Please refer to NASSCOM Startup Report, which is available free of cost. It's available on nasscom.in/events or /reports. You will find entire data points. If you read it, trust me, in every other meeting, you will be that Chaturs who will know every data point. And it's free. Is Flipkart a startup? What's the guideline of Government of India? Anything more than 100 crore revenue is not a startup. Beyond 7 years. But part of the India startup success story is Flipkart always, even today, because it got an exit. Earlier, when we had to, the core reason why startup is increasing, according to me, why was I working somewhere and why am I in the startup ecosystem? First and foremost, the cost of building a product has come down drastically, thanks to cloud, thanks to access to technology, right? If an email engine or a G Suite, earlier you had to install everything, buy a software, put a CD, and run everything. Today it's all on cloud, and it's pay as you go. AWS, which is the cloud service, you don't even pay anything if you have a small little website, and it's almost free. And hence, and also the access to information. Because I lived in the US, I'm constantly asked, why are you here in Bangalore? And I'm asking usually to them back, why not in India? Because whatever we get in the US is available here. In the sense, a VC fund, which is headquartered in Valley, we also have an office in Bangalore. So it's an amazing time to actually do the startup. And please collaborate. Now we'll slowly touch upon the networking as well. It's an amazing time to do the startup. It's an amazing time to be part of the ecosystem right now. I believe the next 10 to 20 years, this is the right time. Startups, many a times, startups are super happy to invent something, to build something. But innovation, it's a mathematical formula. Innovation is equal to invention multiplied by commercialization. What happens is, even today's, right, these are amazing startups. They have patented products, but they are not thinking of commercialization, which is profitability. And it need not be, invention need not be patent always. It has to be something novel. For example, Food Panda came out with something. Yes, they were new. Yes, there was some newness in it. Instead of invention, I can also use the word novelty. This should not have existed, and you are creating something. It can be just an improvisation, it doesn't matter. Something new, multiplied by commercialization. Why this multiplication? If you have a great product, and if you cannot sell it, anything multiplied 0 is 0. It's a dud startup. Dud. And that's what we are seeing with so many, freshers. They love, playing with their, say, robotics or some IoT. They love to talk about it. They never think of commercialization. And that's a recipe for disaster. So what happens when we talk commercialization, and this is something we face day in, day out, part of Future Group, retail and all, sometimes what happens is, so there is this beautiful startup that comes and tells, if you do this solution, which is invention, it might increase customer happiness by 5%. So what happens in those cases, it's very difficult to sell to our business heads, because making customer happy by 5%, which means directly, it is nothing to do with their balance sheet. It's a derived value. Customer experience leads to them spending more time with the store, them referring more, and hence derived version of commercialization happens. And that's the same essence with open source, same essence with Wikipedia. Now I'll build on, now you understood what is innovation. We were talking about two different versions. With that, there are two types of entrepreneurship. Many a times there is this glamour about, I have a startup, and many people, especially because there is this myth that if it is technology, then it's a startup. Even a website building is a startup, right? Even you are providing IoT solutions to a large corporate on a turnkey basis, it's considered a startup. So entrepreneurships are of two kinds. One is what I call IDE, innovation-driven enterprises, which are the actual startups. And the other side is SMBE. Anyone wants to give a dig at it? Straightforward. Yeah. So the photocopier machine or the website building machine, that comes under the SMB enterprises. So what happens is, India especially is in this cusp of changes, because we were not the startup nations a lot, at least in the mainstream. We are trying to impose the SMB terminologies and philosophies into the IDEs, and we struggle a lot. I'll explain one of from my own startup journey. 2011, I started along with my brother. He was a seasoned businessman. And I started something, I didn't know clearly what I was planning to do. I put all the vision statement, mission statement, OSA, B plan, Excel projections, everything I put. But then he saw this as one of his extended businesses. He helped me set up an entire office space with a color coding. It has to be red, white, all those things, but he didn't understand it was an IDE. He was trying to see it was one of his other showrooms that he is opening. Trust me, we lost at least a 1 crore rupee in the first 1.5 years. Costly lesson. And why I am bringing this here is, Kerala, we are also, learning the art of entrepreneurship. If your uncles and cousins and the distant relative in Boston tells you that, do this, please do not agree to them, because entrepreneurship, be prepared for pivoting. Be prepared to kill the business also if you have to. Coachability index. Because what is happening is, because these entrepreneurs are not typically studied entrepreneurship. They have dabbled into it, they are also learning. Especially some of the startups that come from Bangalore, they think they are Mark Zuckerbergs. Seriously, they will take it's AI. I mean, they would use some chatbot which uses a little AI somewhere, but every startup in Bangalore is an AI startup. I remember some of the companies, Their domain extension from .com, it's AI now. So what we do is, because we evaluate at a first level in terms of all these parameters, everything is an excellent point. Plus, we also see, is there a cultural compatibility? Because what happens after our tech evaluation or the L1 evaluation, they are supposed to give a demo to the head of businesses. And each head of business is managing a portfolio not less than 5 to 10,000 crores. And these guys go and talk, this is AI, man. Lots happen in a similar way, right? It's a dud. They shoot it down royally. So the cultural compatibility in terms of whatever emotional intelligence, please work on that. Okay, so with that said, how to actually work with us? And what should you be prepared with? Right, let's to build on it. First and foremost, please be prepared for multiple rounds of discussion. Again, I'm telling this is a tech startup. If you are selling a product, this is not the conversation for that at all. Be prepared for multiple conversations. What is happening here, given, and that's the number, 4,000 is the number, right? In fact, it is increasing as we speak, and I'm ramping up team because I'm not able to be that chowkidar within double quotes for these startups. Now, with that said, so we evaluate from a tech angle, and then business will evaluate from how is it compatible to the business. Will always want to negotiate. We are a large customer, because even if your solution is 100 rupee per store, can somebody guess how many stores we have? It's very close to 2,500. And on an average, we open 4 to 5 stores every week across India. So even if there is a savings of 100 rupees, multiplied by 2,500, it's huge for us. So finance team will think of profitability. And next is operations. We have had instances, and I'm telling as a matter of fact, a startup came, evaluation happened, technology happened, business at a very high level saw that, haha, it will help in this use case. These guys go to the store, and store guys are supposed to be not tech savvy, agreed? They are more customer friendly, front ending. These startup guys go and bully the store. We call them store kartas. Hey, yeah, aisa karna hai. As if, these guys report to them. Pathetic. So the operations will think from that angle. And lastly, as an open innovation, for us, we have to ensure the latest tech is coming inside the group. So that is our personal agenda. Yes, we need AI. Yes, we need blockchain to come in. Now you see the priorities. It's a jungle out there. But the idea about open innovation is we become single window to the startups so that you are comfortable going to each and every meeting and you are prepared for each and every meeting. And that's how we prep you up. Boss, in this place, go prepared with ABC data points. Because the same pitch will not be applicable to everyone. Number one. Number two, what else you have to do? And this I'm seeing increasingly, this young startups, they always talk features, never talk benefits. To use the lame example of a car, they come and tell it's a 1.4 liter diesel engine with some CVDI or CVTI and it will do ABC. They forget to tell it's a nice car, runs smoothly, gives good mileage. That's what we want to hear. You see the big difference? And trust me, sitting on the other side, chilling, everybody feels, isn't it commonsensical? 80% of the pitches come with only features. We use this algorithm. We use Google TensorFlow. What does that got to do with business? And the third one is, I keep using this, please understand, a large enterprise is not a monolith. Can someone tell me what's a monolith is? Or a big rock, something like that, which is like, so we are not monolith. Each one of us will see the startup in different lenses. Please be prepared for it. And it's going to take a journey. And then the last point is, if the startup, what we tell them is most of the startups, because they have built, a lot of hustling, they are built for pilot, but never built for scale. And that's something, a big no. To give you an example from a consumer product thing, so one of my friends had an apparel product or something. So she said that she wants to place that product in our stores. So I talked from the strategy angle, and they were also telling, okay, if it's interesting, if it sells, it sells. But only one thing they have to come prepared with. They should be able to position this product across 200 stores, which means the person should have 5 crore worth of stocks. Similarly, when it comes to software, most of the time what we see from an engineering standpoint, it is not built for scale. It just bombs. So whenever you are building in terms of basic software architecture, think if you are building for scale. If not, don't look at large enterprise in terms of initial stages, because it's very easy to tell, always build for this, but it also takes resources. If you are not ready, don't come. Address the small mom and pop stores, maybe hyper-local stores. Then whenever you are ready, then come to us. And these are the basic tenets of what I call bridal dance with enterprise customers.